All right. Hello, guys. I was not able to get into the room, so sorry to make you guys wait. Give me just a second. As you guys are getting set up, you will just need your ball, and if you have a block, bring in a block. Okay, it doesn't look like I have the capability to.
Like a cinder block? Or
No, not a cinder block. That would stink, wouldn't it? If you have a yoga block. Sorry, I wasn't very clear. I'll show you. Right. You're just being funny, aren't you? So if you have a block, and if you don't have a block, you can go ahead and bring in maybe a book. So I don't have it doesn't look like I have my co-host today. So I don't have the capability to do much. I can't share or I can't record. So we're just gonna go ahead and get going. So, all right. So as you guys come in, this is R&R. I'm Angie, and what we're going to do today is focus on a couple of spots. So we're going to focus on the feet, and we will also focus on the occiput area. So if you take your thumbs and you come to the base of your skull and just give a little massage right here, feel those very prominent bumps there. And there are many neck muscles that attach into that spot, and those can be quite tender. So when we get to that with the ball, if it feels like it's too much, you can also just come back to that and just massage here. So we're going to do kind of the ends, the end of the spine and then the bottom of the feet. If you have a let's see, I have all sorts of balls here. I've got a yoga tune-up ball, which is dense all the way through. It's a little squishy. And then I've got a lacrosse ball, which has no give whatsoever. And then I have a tennis ball, which has some squish and it doesn't have the grip. But they all work fine. Just make sure they're all a little different. And you just want to be aware of different things depending on which one you have. So this one, the lacrosse ball can be a little intense at times. So just be really careful if you're using that. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up into a standing position. I always like to do some sort of a check-in. I'm gonna walk away and we'll come into a standing position and just notice your feet beneath you. Shut this door. So as you notice your feet standing on your feet, see if you can just focus on each corner or all four corners of your foot. So sometimes we tend to roll out to the outside or roll into the inside or rock forward or back. Really spread your toes, root down through the big toe mound, pinky toe mound, inner heel, outer heel. And then from there, we're going to fold forward. So walk your hands down and take your time, especially if you haven't done anything or maybe you're just coming away from your desk. Take your time, maybe your hands are on a chair. Begin to release when you're ready and fold over. See if you can let go of your head so your neck is really long here. And then just notice where your hands come down to. So it's really not so much about, how far can I go and push yourself so far, but just notice where you go without effort. And then notice where things are tight. So maybe you're aware of your calves or the back of the knee or the hamstrings. Maybe it's in your buttocks or up along the spine, or maybe you're noticing some tension in the back of the neck or the head. So see kind of what you're aware of here for a moment or two more. As we work on the back fascial line of the body, it starts at the bottom of the feet, runs all the way up the hamstrings, back, up the spine, up the back of the head, over the top of the head, and it comes right across the forehead into the eyebrows. So pretty amazing. And then bend your knees and then roll yourself all the way up. Whew. All right. So whatever ball you have, go ahead and pick that up. And we'll start with one foot. So you're going to take that ball. And if you need to hold on to something, you can come to the wall or hold a chair, whatever is nearby. Place it underneath your foot and just lightly begin to roll the ball along the bottom of the foot. So I'm just doing these little scribble movements. Think of this as kind of warming up the tissue, starting to bring more awareness into the foot. And you know, if you have that lacrosse ball, you probably want to be a little bit more gentle. You could also sit in a chair and do this as well. Then you don't have to worry about the balance issue. Okay, so we're just going back and forth, trying to cover all different areas of the foot, and notice what you feel, notice what stands out, notice what's tender. Maybe pull it back a little bit to just underneath the toes. Again, we're not pushing very hard, we're just being aware of what's here. And then start to bring your foot forward so that now the ball is just underneath your heel. Press down into the heel, and you've got the ball of the foot on the floor, giving you some stability. And then you're just pressing the heel into the ball. Next time you're pressing in, hold here. And then squish the heel into the ball, go side to side. Then pull the foot back so the heel comes onto the floor. And now the ball of your foot is now on the ball. Okay. Press down onto the ball so you're kind of pumping, kind of a pumping action. The toes are folding over or just relaxed over the front of the ball. Yeah, good. Now, come back and start to make that movement. So you're just doing these little passes, but now start to go a little bit deeper. So earlier when we first were warming up, we just did these light scribble movements. Now you're thinking about moving a little slower, right? I can come a little bit closer, that might be easier. So you're trying to move a little slower and with a little bit more pressure. Again, be a little bit more mindful if you have a ball, just because that particular doesn't have. I like to be a little bit lighter with the lacrosse ball. What's nice too is we start to warm up this tissue. You can think about not only bringing circulation, but helping to bring in kind of bringing fluids in and then waste products out. Okay, let's go ahead and release the foot and then just notice from side to side for a moment. Okay, let's go to the other side now. So on the other side, those quick little scribble movements, those light scribble movements. And you can do this standing or seated, back and forth. Just noticing and being aware of which areas of your foot stand out. Notice if one foot is more tender than the other. Okay. I love doing the feet. It's such a great area to work. If you don't have a lot of time. Earlier, I was talking about the back fascial line, and because it goes from the feet and then goes all the way up the back of the body, over the top of the head to the eyebrows, you can roll the feet and then have a response anywhere along that line. So it's just a really great area to work. Go ahead and bring your foot forward now. So you're on, the ball is underneath the heel, and we're going to do those little smashes. Just pushing down, and then can't even think of the word, squish the ball and move it from right to left. And then we'll go ahead and come back. So now the heel is on the ground and the ball is under the ball of your foot. The toes are hanging off or they're relaxed. And then you're just gonna do a little bit of pressing. You can go right into the center of the foot, or you can kind of pivot the foot so that you're pressing underneath the big toe, the center underneath the pinky toe. It's not your toes per se, it's really more your knuckles. Okay, now come on back and let's go a little bit deeper. So think about moving slow and steady into these areas. I'm going a little bit faster through a lot of this than normal because we're doing two different spots. We're still coming down to the floor to finish up the occiput, the occipital area. All right, let's go ahead and come off. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Take a moment to notice both sides. All right, and then come down to the floor. So I think most of you have one ball. So I'm going to assume you have one ball. If you have a block, keep the block, and or you can use a book, whatever you have. So remember those occipital areas, you can massage there, that's your first option, or you can take your ball and place it on the block or the book, the thick book, and right on one of those bumpy bones, right, the occipital bones. From here, just let you might take your one hand to give it a little bit of support and start to find some just movement. I like to go side to side first. So now you're massaging. Remember, we were massaging there with the thumbs, and now you can get a little bit deeper. Whew, this feels pretty tender. I don't know about you guys, but for many of us, neck muscles feel tight, right? Might be a good thing to do when you step away from your desk, take a little break, and then go up and down. Ooh. You get headaches that come up, around the back of the head, neck, that comes from the neck. This could be helpful. Then go ahead and take the ball over to the other side. Again, we're just looking at that area at the base of your skull, that big bump there, where your neck muscles attached. So I like to hold it with my hand just so that it doesn't slide. Nodding the head yes, and then nodding the head no. You can also kind of do a combination of that, yes and no, and then you can look over to one side. So I've got it on the left side, I would look over to the left and then give a little nod here. Yes. And then bring it back through center so it's right between those occipital bones. And then notice how there's a little crevice there, there's a little gap, and the ball can just sit there. Go ahead and close your eyes and take just a few breaths here. Then bring your hand behind your head, lift your head, take the ball out, take the block or the book out, release your head down, and just rest here for a moment. So your feet, all the way up the legs, the spine, back of the head. This feels good. I'm just taking a nap here. All right, let's do our check-in, guys. Roll to your side, press yourself up, and take your time getting up. And then once you come to a standing position, come on up and we'll come back to folding forward. So go ahead and walk yourself down. Let your head release last, nice and slow. Soften through the belly and let yourself hang here. Just take a moment to notice if anything's changed. It's just that little bit of rolling that we did. So you might notice maybe you can get a little closer to the floor, or maybe there's some changes in tightness sensation through the calves or the hamstrings or along the spine.
or even at the back of the neck. Might be where you rolled, and it might be somewhere different along that back line that I mentioned earlier. All right, bend your knees. Slowly roll yourself up. Sweep your arms out and up. Bring your palms together and your hands at hearts. Thanks for joining me, you guys. I hope you enjoyed today's session of R and R, and wish you guys a great rest of your day. Okay, take care.
Your comment to pay attention where your hands aren't. Are. It's where they aren't, where they're not getting down to where they used to be.
They're not getting down to where they used to be?
Not yet.
So did you find any difference, James?
A little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And that's the thing is sometimes you might notice that, and we're doing some quick rolling sessions, but sometimes you might notice that there's a difference in your range of motion and your flexibility, like slight changes. But it also might be sensation, like, oh gosh, I feel a little bit more whatever, like warmth or open in some of those areas. So did you happen to? Did you notice any changes?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
But not a drastic change.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, so why bend the knees when you're standing back up?
What's that?
You have us just bend our knees when we stand back up. What's the purpose of bending the knees when we roll back up?
So usually so when you bend your knees, just to get a little bit more anchored and then kind of roll up the spine. It's just a safety thing. Okay. Yeah. Safety cue. Yeah.
All about safety.
Well, nice to see you. Thanks for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right. Awesome. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, apparently,